Shri Guru Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishbhanusuti Devi Pranama Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Emotional health, as you said about spiritual health, it is the culmination of our maturity of devotional service, and as the advanced devotee,
welcome,
who are engaged in especially devotee care, they must be enriched with feelings of spiritual nature for the struggling soul in the body. What we say, the emotions are allowed in Krishna consciousness to be developed in a Brahminical state. As neophytes, those who are dependent upon the holy name and thus purify our consciousness. But when the purified consciousness is to be applied in service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have been given a Brahminical state of our practice to be worshipping the deity of our what we call Ishta, means Ishta means beneficial. Lord Shri Krishna, in the form that we are worshipping, is becoming our most benevolent benefactor, and he bestows upon us the benefits of being in service with him. So, the Vigraha Seva by the Pujari is to be understood in this realm as it is explained by Kapil Dev in the third canto, that if a Pujari's behavior with its congregation should reflect according to the behavior with his deity. It means how a person's character in dealing sentiently with his fellow God brothers or congregation, it will be found out in its maturity. Otherwise, Kapil Dev tells his mother Devhuti that Pujari's puja is not reaching to Krishna, his Ishtadev, in the form of the deity. He will not reciprocate with the Pujari. So how come Pujari fails to reciprocate with the fellow congregation? This is the very essential training ground where the deities are called Vigrahas, not Murtis, not idols. We are not idol worshipper, but we are sentient beings, therefore there's a sentient exchange of sentient feelings between the worshipper and the worshipped, the deity. Deity or Vigraha has been the name derived from Ayurvedic list of several, I think 13 names for a body with different functionalities. One of the most important function is the one that is reciprocating our sentient feelings, purified feelings, benevolent feelings, which are without enviousness, without motivation. Anya bilashata sanyam jnana karma dhanavritam anukullena krishnanushilam bhaktiruttama. So a pujari is being trained with rules and regulations so he can worship in awe and reverence, and then that becomes the medium for recognition of the deity worship. And this deity worship becomes glorious. And the pujari especially has been given the task to serve them so favorably that they remain pleased. Meticulous time, offering, everything. And his behavior, his consciousness is simply to please the deity. And the deity reciprocates. That's why Prabhupada said we are not idol worshippers, we worship Vigraha. Vigraha Seva is the most important, to learn this sentient feelings being exchanged. So more we become purified in our process of deity worship, we are trained to behave exactly in the same reciprocation with the congregation, with anybody we are dealing. Vigraha is not a dead stone. There is pran, and pran is so deep, but because the spiritual master invested his heart in making it appear so that Vigraha may accept our seva. We need to perform seva. Vigraha does not need to be there if we are not performing that seva according to his pleasure. Because his pleasure must be observed. Therefore, we have to treat the Vigrahas as if he is the real, actually exchanging our sentient feelings. Means there is life in it. These sentient feelings can be, say, understood with the feelings between master and servant, husband and wife. In all these different relationships, these feelings can be exchanged. But there is a reciprocation is to be understood. Our happiness or our well-being is dependent upon the well-being of the deities. As far as this advancement of devotional service in the second initiation is given. If you read the instructions of Kapil Dev to Devahuti, this is very much clarified. Now, on the worldwide movement, unless and until a mature devotee takes care, a very sensitive devotee takes care of the devotee's genuine concern, and he is in need, and how do we deal with him? How do we deal with him? The maturity of a devotee in his advancement in Krishna consciousness is directly proportionate to how his behavior. So we see the Uttam Adhikari, he does not see the difference between the deity or devotee or non-devotee. So his heart must be very saturated with sentient feelings. And it will be very well established. As for example, I'll give you from the life of Srila Prabhupada. In the early days, Prabhupada had no money. Money is not the only means to take care of the devotee who is in need of the care. Prabhupada didn't have any amenities to provide, but he had love and deep concern for the spiritual welfare of the people who came to help him, and Prabhupada utilized by his exceptional behavior that they did the whole thing for him. The establishment of movement, the spreading of the movement, and the worldwide preaching of Srila Prabhupada were so much exemplarily done without money being the source. Most minimum money, and devotees were, able to travel. Prabhupada, was asking only the BBT books. That's the printing cost should be paid. That's all. But whatever it is, devotees can use it in their traveling, and wherever Prabhupada would go, even though there were hardly 26 devotees in book distribution at that time, but they would be reaching to the next city either by flight or by bus or anything before Prabhupada reaches, and they will be there to greet him at the airport or such, places. And people were thinking, oh, he has devotees everywhere. But there were hardly 26 in beginning. And nobody was paid. But all their genuine concerns were taken care by Srila Prabhupada, and that is the really devotee care that he has. Because Prabhupada was filled with love for his supporters, for his helpers. Prabhupada would give all the credit to them. It's my spiritual master send you all so I can serve him. You are helping me to serve him. All the credits to the early devotees. And early devotees were not knowing much. It doesn't mean that you require much knowledge of everything. No, maturity in behavior is essential to carry out the devotee care. It is not a reciprocation according to the money. It is not reciprocation according to the resources. No, it is the ample wealth of our heart, which is imbued with love of Godhead. Then and then we can do the real job. There are many examples in the history of Renaissance period of Bhakti movement that started by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but there were contemporary to him many stalwart and recognized devotee, maybe of a different denomination. Some may have taken initiation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, just like Tukaram. But he also met Narsimha Mehta in Gujarat when he was coming from Dwarka via Junagadh to go to Pandharpur. And Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan had the record. The record was coming from the source of Krishnadas's Karcha. He was keeping the diary, and he mentions the period when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Narsimha Mehta. He was a pure devotee in his own sense. Some may say he's Jnana Mishra Bhakta, or he was Sakam Bhakta, Bhakta, even some people will say. But the maturity of his behavior in imbued sentiments of his songs that he wrote. He even had many occasions, Lord Krishna covered his services, just like getting his own daughter married. And he was a pauper, he was having nothing. And yet, when the time came, he had to go out of the home. The marriage date was set up. And he was forced to go to collect the sufficient money so they can make preparations. And he went out, you know, but his mood was completely in surrender to Lord Shri Krishna. And he would join Sankirtan, he would join everywhere, and he will dance and chant. And that is his activity. If he remembers that, oh, he has gone out for collection of some money to get the expenses meet out. But that was so much, far distance in his mind. He was totally absorbed in love of Krishna. And he did not realize even the marriage date has passed. Narsi Mehta cannot figure out, the marriage date of his daughter passed. And he didn't know nothing. But then he was regretting, oh, I didn't do anything. But he wouldn't ask anything from Lord Shri Krishna that, oh, you didn't take care of me. No, he was completely at peace with himself. But lo and behold, when he returned to his home, everybody started, paying him obeisances. He was so much criticized for his doing nothing. And because they call Shamal Shah Shet, some gentleman who was very rich, he came and put up all the expenses. And then they say, Shamal Shah Shet, something strikes in my mind. He must be my black Krishna. Who else? He must have come, even though I did not ask, but he can fulfill the needs of the devotees. So we see in the Sharanagati aspect of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 6 things are required. Readiness to take shelter and cultivating karpanyata, that I'm a completely useless person, but my Lord, without any other ulterior motivation. So that humility is the second aspect. The third one is Krishna will protect me and he will nourish me. It's not that I'm going to be burdened on him, because I'll be regularly chanting and serving him constantly. So naturally, I will be totally dependent upon him. And therefore, I will perform only favorable service to him, which is chanting Hare Krishna. And I will also cast off any unfavorable service. I will not do. So these 6 things for Sharanagati are predominant factors that a pure devotee can take. So as an Uttam Adhikari level, he will not discuss or distinguish between Krishna and his devotees and his non-devotees either, because everybody is part and parcel. So he is imbued with love of Godhead so much that he would not criticize anybody. He would not say, he is equanimous. Haribol. So such a character has to be developed. Of course, when we will come to that maturity, it depends upon ourselves. But to take the wholesome medical, not medical, but spiritual care is the prime importance for the devotee care. We see such Vaishnava poets have poured their heart of these sentiments, which are sentient feelings. Sentiments can be material, and that gives us being a sahajiya rather than imposter, because that is for material benefit, or to become benevolent on somebody by, oh, Krishna, please help him. Krishna knows it. You don't have to advocate for material help for somebody. But if you are a genuine caretaker of Krishna, then you can take care of everyone. By knowing him, we can know everything. So by pleasing him, we'll please the whole world. Prabhupada used two aphorisms. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. By satisfying one, you will satisfy everybody. And kasmin bhagavo yasmin vigyatam sarvam evam vigyatam bhavanti. Know only one supreme personality of Godhead. You will know everything. So those who have resolute faith in Krishna consciousness must endeavor towards the perfection. They have a desired goal of life to go back home, back to Godhead. But unless and until they have shown the genuine care for fellow devotees, or for that person only non-devotees, no, we do not prefer. Fellow devotees is a preference, the choice. When Prabhupada was talking in 68, or 69, I think 69, when he was describing about the welfare activities in Chicago. One police sergeant came to see Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, what are you doing for the unfortunates? There were two people. One was the priest who was running the deaf and dumb, organization, and other was the police sub-inspector of the jail. Prabhupada told the jail superintendent, if you give us place, we will come with all our devotees and will do Sankirtan Yajna in front of them. And their hearts will be changing, thereby benefiting you. That when they will become Krishna conscious, then you don't have to punish them anymore. Because they are bhajate mam ananya bhak. Therefore, they are sadhu. They are purified souls. And they will not become obstruction to the developing society. They will not be hindrances. And for the priest, he says, I'm sorry, they are unfortunate. So they will not be able to take up Krishna consciousness because increase in bodily conception. Prabhupada said, and understanding is like this, that if you lose one sense, your other sense will try to cover the function of the sense that is lost. As for example, sense of touch takes over when one loses the the sense of sight, right? So sense engagement into the material objects and acknowledging them for his own protection becomes very strong. So it is becoming more difficult for them either to engage the senses in service of Krishna because the senses are too much attached to other senses work. So both the situations are of genuine concern. It's not that he told very frankly, sorry, we cannot do anything. But we do have deaf and dumb devotees preaching Krishna consciousness to deaf and dumb. In Chopati, and since early times, I'm talking of 1992, one initiated deaf and dumb devotee was able to do. But Prabhupada was interested to establish his Krishna conscious movement on the firm ground rather than the weak ground. And he didn't have enough time even. In a short span, he had to achieve the maximum, and he did it. You know, whether his targets are finished or not, but they have been covered. And we cannot say that he left the movement half done. No. The movement is continued. If it is left half done after Srila Prabhupada, do you think it will be continued? So there is a genuine concern. It is the sentient feeling to the Sri Vigraha of Srila Prabhupada. So we see these are very well expressed in the songs of Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And we should, take the purport in our heart and imbibe this, so we can develop the sentient feelings before we start taking care of the needed in devotee care. So this is a perpetual thing, and it is taken care out of maturity of a devotee. We may be enthusiastic to undertake, but devotee care is on the multifaceted aspects. The multifacets, they are all connected with the spiritual aspect, not independent. Independently, they are the only. So therefore, we had a change in the ministry also. And Prahladan Maharaj, the Ministry of Health, has to merge this ministry into the devotee care ministry. So this is an important thing because it's a multifaceted aspect, and we have to take care. Now, there are many songs of Narottam Das Thakur that are so much important in order to touch those sentient feelings. They are very good for reciprocation. And the devotees do reciprocate with the in-depth understanding of the subject of the song. And we should also follow those songs in order to, imbibe. I remember in your North Carolina, I have a god sister, and she called Nittai Sadhvi Mataji.
Yeah.
Sadhvi Mataji has genuine concern for the sick child in the hospitals. And she goes out there in a joker suit, and would charm the boys and make them forget their pain. And she inadvertently, in disguise, make them chant Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. One time, she wanted to travel, and I was going from Hillsborough Temple to Cincinnati. And Mataji told me, Maharaj, can I travel with you? I said, okay. So she sat down, and she was ready as soon as we reached Cincinnati, and she started attracting the children. And the children know nothing but, their school games and everything, what they are being taught in the school. But the real concern is to get them attracted with mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So in own way, and a very pleasing, joking way, she would make, everybody chant Nitai Gauranga. That opens up the door to the heart. I also remember in 1978 in New York, 340 West 55th Street, we cut the first album. I was a tabla player there. And the name the album was Open the Door to Your Hearts. Open the door to your heart. This 70 mm disc has been also there as a souvenir. Probably you might come across. But the theme was when you chant Hare Krishna in such a sincere way, to call out the name of the Lord through your palpitating heart, your palpitating consciousness, then it certainly gives a desirable effect on the listener. And the listener also listens very carefully and entering this in the heart, in his heart. And that's what exactly Kapil Dev is telling, that in association of the devotees, my dear mother, you'll perceive my potency. Satam prasangam mama virya sambhida bhavanti radkarana rasayana katha tajjoshanavam apavarga vartamani shraddha rati bhakti anukramashyati. In the association of the devotees, when properly heard and chanted the glories of the holy name or the character of Lord Shri Krishna, which is entering through the ear and reaching to the heart, it creates some kind of a rasayanam. The mellows are flowing back and forth as an exchange. These are the sentient feelings. And that is perceived through the heart only, not through the mind and not through the intellect. So in that association, when the glories of Lord Shri Krishna are properly heard and chanted, it enters into the heart to start a kind of awakening. Tajjoshanavam apavarga vartamani. This awakening will open the door to the to liberation. Apavarga means liberation, and pavarga means bondage of repeated birth and death. Prabhupada would say Pa means parishram. If you do parishram, you get some results. So phal is there. Phal. If you get the phal, you are bound because you use the energy of Krishna and you are not giving him back. So you are in debtor. So you get ba means bondage. And if you are bound up tight by foot and hands, then you can't dance. Rather, you become more fearful of falling off. So when the fear enters, fear ends up in mrityu, bha and ma. So papa baba ma is called pavarga, and apavarga means they are absent there. Tatajjashanavam apavarga vartamani. What are the reactions on a listener? Shraddha. Required faith on the transcendental effect that will develop. That is called Shraddha. Shatadhana. Sat means absolute truth. Dha means diya. This Shraddha has been intellectually tested. The Shraddha Shabde Sudrada Vishwasha Karanishchay Krishna Bhakti Karile Sarva Karma Krita. It's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita too. So, the sentient feelings must be capable to activate the requisite faith on the devotion to Lord Krishna. Rati means attraction towards Lord Shri Krishna, and bhakti, the eternal occupational duty of the soul. Three will manifest. It means it is taking you from physical state all the way to the transcendental state. What a transformation. Srila Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. Do you think it's that simple sutra? Just like Janmadhyasya Yataha is a very complicated sutra. And just to explain, Srila Vyasadeva compiled 18,000 slokas to explain in Srimad Bhagavatam. This chant and be happy is also very, very deep sutra that will create happiness. When you become happy with transcendental process, you are well taken care. You are well taken care. Nobody can trade in your finer sentiments that you have developed by performing pure devotional service. Rather, it will increase and increase and increase. So we should study the songs of Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Lochan Das Thakur. They are with deep sentiments. And sentiments, Prabhupada say, religion means philosophy with sentiments. And the religion without philosophy is nothing but material sentiments. Religion without philosophy is a dry speculation. It is nothing but material titillation of the mind. Speculation. So, devotional service is actual service with the sentiments to please Lord Shri Krishna. So you have a pleasure, attitude while performing your devotional service. Never get drowsy, never start, yawning when it comes to chanting Hare Krishna. So in this way, the sentient feelings bring us to the point of absolute necessity to interact with our mature sentient feelings, with those who are needed. It simply is an outpouring of love, genuine concern, not on the bodily problematic concern that Christians care. Now, genuine concern that will heal body, mind, and spirit also. So, I do not want to take much time. My voice is also becoming hoarse. So if you have any question or comments, please, we have still 8 minutes to go.
Gurudev, we're deeply thankful because you are so busy there with whatever, all the auspicious things that are happening there in Mayapur. You're really tired, but still agreed to speak with us. This is so enlightening, Gurudev, very enlightening. And as you have instructed, we'll just open up with the questions. Maybe when winding down, I would just share what has touched my heart to Gurudev. This is very wonderful, but Adnan and Prabhu, please go ahead. So open up with the questions.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Such a powerful class. Like, just in that 40-50 minutes, we have actually brought up so much of the deep philosophy, like the example of Srila Prabhupada, maturity in character, and the sentient feelings that are actually our connection to Krishna through the Vigraha. Such wonderful points, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's open it for questions. So anyone would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand, and then I can call upon you. Maharaj, let's see. Can I ask a question before?
Yes, go ahead.
Maharaj, you spoke about how the acharyas, like through the bhajans, they bring out the deep sentient feelings to Krishna. And I was thinking, like, sometimes when we read the bhajans, like, yes, the feelings are there and we can appreciate, but I just feel that I'm so far from those feelings that it's it's like almost like there's a big gap to actually imbibe that mood. So how, as practicing sadhakas, can we actually start to imbibe it? Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he sings like bhajans like Amara Jivan Sadap, like it's just like so far, like how can we imbibe the mood?
Right. From the very beginning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing us, Pranadapi Shunichena Tarorapi Saishwana Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada. If we are genuinely practicing Krishna consciousness, then this is our cardinal principle, that we can chant constantly if we cultivate these three characters, Pranadapi Shunichena, Tarorapi Saishwana, and Amanina Manadena. The importance is that with that being the foundational seed of our character, and retaining, even if we are progressing in every aspect of the progress or every stage of the progress, put it that as the fundamental recitation, all right, and develop that mood. So naturally, the Uttam Adhikaris, when they are pouring their heart out, because heart is overfilled, so they have to overflow, and such overflow will be genuine. That they will be depicting. But again, the principle of Trunadapi will be in forefront. So even though they are highly qualified, they will put themselves into the lowest. Amara jivana sada papirata, nahi punyera lesha. So we can't forget our past. Always bring it forward. So those who are beginners, they will be encouraged. Oh, he was also a papi before. Now he's telling you that, we respect him and everything. He's a great saint. No, he's open-hearted at least. He's not imposter, or he's not. So genuine feelings are coming from the maturity of devotional service. In immature state, we should not try to imitate. All right? We may have interest in writing poetry, but we may fail. Srila Prabhupada also guides us there. Most of our acharyas are addressing Krishna and the primary names of Krishna, Balaram, all right? Not on the secondary names. Primary names in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also used. Other people may use secondary names. So if you are a genuine person to take care of the fellow devotees, to encourage them, to enthuse them, to uplift them, to make them advance, then use the primary names, not mix up of hodgepodge. Krishna Vrindavan, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, are the three fundamental primary names used in Vrindavan. All right. Hara is the internal potency. From the potency, when she is manifesting, she will manifest the potential. So we don't have to accept potential. Let him be manifested according to our sensitivity of chanting. You can't artificially twist hand of Krishna. I said, hey, you appear. We are not Sahajiyas. I've been chanting for how many years and I'm not getting through. Prabhu, I don't have any advancement. To artificially become humble is not going to last long. We simply try to encourage, Prabhu, I hope your concerns are genuine. So may Krishna help you. What can we say more than that? So the importance of genuinity, it will grow, it will mature in time. When our efforts are sincere, maturity will be there.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a beautiful answer. The point about the genuine feelings and our maturity in bhakti, like that point has come so wonderfully into this class. Thank you. Maharaj, we have a question from Praveen Prabhu. Praveen Prabhu, please.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Accept my humble senses. So, thank you so much for a lovely lecture, Maharaj. My question is the people like who started recently Krishna consciousness, apart from following the 4 rules, what we are aware right now. So is there anything, the main focus point for anyone who just started looking after Krishna in their life?
Don't remain aloof and alone. Always associate with the devotees and you will be empowered. Haridas Thakur's his assertion is that even if one has chanted Hare Krishna only once, he should be considered as a Vaishnava, and one should, dare offend him. He's telling so sternly. It's a genuine concern. Single chanting of Hare Krishna. So what to speak those who are sincere, developing association and improving their chanting and service attitude. Of course, they will go out of their way. Most of the devotees in Krishna consciousness, they always try to go out of their way to extend their services.
Thank you.
Because it is spontaneous, and the flow is spontaneous. Just don't give up on Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yeah. If no other questions, then I will wait if there are any, but please go. Okay. If that's okay with you, since there are no questions at this time.
Thank
Yes.
you.
No. Gurudev, please do not leave. We just no, I was gonna say what was really touching to my heart. How wonderful this was. Huh?
Sorry to interrupt, but Jyoti Mataji did raise her hand. I think you didn't.
Oh, good. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now,
Krishna Gurudev.
the hand has very less contrast. That's why I cannot see. Sorry,
Thank you
Jyoti
so much
Mataji.
for the class, Gurudev. Thank you so much for the class, Gurudev. Really appreciate your holiness. One quick question. You talk about a little bit about the surrender in the whole process. So how do you manage a little bit of the surrender that you do on a day-to-day basis, even taking like baby steps and cultivating a little bit into your process of the surrender?
Surrender and limit, they do not go together.
Wow.
Surrendering process is a spontaneous activity. You become in tune with the energy of Krishna that knows the nature of Krishna, and you do spontaneous devotional service. Simply by knowing the nature of Krishna, you engage yourself. You do not need guidance, or you do not need, you have already got. That makes his swabhav. In Svetasatara Upanishad, it is said, Parasha Shaktir Vividhiya Suruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. How intimate the energies of Lord Shri Krishna are associating and manifesting without him telling that you do this or you do that. Because they know Krishna's swabhav, they do automatically. Like Sudarshan Chakra is in the hand, and it will be released if any offender, like Durvasa Muni, is there. And Krishna said, well, I didn't know when it went. It comes only after performing the job. And Durvasa got so much frightened that he went back to Ambarish Maharaj, fell at his feet, and then Ambarish Maharaj prayed. Because Durvasa cannot pray to Sudarshan Chakra to calm down. He has no potency. Only a devotee can pacify a devotee. Ambarish Maharaj is pure devotee, Sudarshan Chakra is pure devotee, associates of Lord Shri Krishna. And Durvasa Muni didn't know the glories of deity or the devotees, services. So this becomes the definition of autocratic Krishna. Nachatasya karanam karanam cha vidyate न च तत्समासम् अभि अधिकच्च दृश्यते राशशक्तिर्विविधीय श्रूयते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबलक्रिया च. We see the manifestation of its energy. Where are you going to put limits or restrictions or not increase? And when you will become liberated, you will have plenty of letting loose from your side, no restriction. It will automatically come. I was a dumb, but my Guru Maharaj opened my tongue and started me vibrating. Just he said, repeat after me. I'm trying to repeat after him. Otherwise, I never, in my school, I never went for elocution. I never went for any competitive. I was a very slow reader. I cannot decipher even certain languages that I was supposed to learn. Forget it. I was not a bright student that way. But the real education is everything started coming out of my restriction. It got liberated. I allowed it to get liberated from me, which was not essential.
Sorry, Maharaj, one follow-up question on that. So,
Yeah.
Then why is there, I mean, why is there hindrance in the surrender on one side? On the other side, we don't want to imitate somebody else, that somebody is more surrendered than us, and so why do we struggle in the process of the surrender itself? Because
Right.
I mean, at some point we want to surrender it, ourselves, but there is something that is holding us back. But
That
we
is
don't
the
want to.
attachment to the so-called support system that we have established in material life, and therefore immediately we do not want to give them up. We will see and watch and go slowly. Fine. But none is going to accompany you when you go from this body. What is going to go with you is the real treasure of unhindered and unmotivated devotional service will go with you. So even Krishna gives us time framework to work out this. Now you are in Vanaprastha stage, Panchashatam Vanam Gacchati. So gradually you will be also giving up, and when you will be completely unable to take care of your own body, then, so it will have to be given up. Otherwise, we will have to come back to pay off what we are not giving up. So the idea is that what is holding to surrender, and at the same time
29 मीठा बुधन
creating a conscious
ज्वाला जो है राधा देसी जो है.
So sorry, Gurudev, I don't know. Dear devotees, would you please mute yourself since Gurudev is...
So it will happen gradually when you increase your devotional service, then other part of attachment will be compensated by detachment. So there is a gradual development. We don't want to cut off immaturely. Even Arjuna is asking the same question to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. An unsuccessful yogi, what is his destination? He says he was thinking that he will be completely disappearing and driven away like a raven cloud. But Krishna gave a very compassionate answer. See how the style of answering this question is that the compassion Compassion was in chastisement, but now the compassion, when he comes to think about the mind's fragile situation, fragile means very agile. It is fragile, but it is very agile first, that it cannot remain steady. So Krishna, tell me, what will be the destination of such a person? Krishna says, na kaschit durgatim tat gacchati. There is no necessary to fear that he will be having some recourse or failure and he has to pay off. No, nothing. His position will remain whatever he has gained into. In the devotional service, whatever you have gained is a permanent asset. Otherwise, non-devotional activity are not going to endure anyway. Why not to collect permanent asset even gradually, even if it may not be in this life, but then whatever you have done is a permanent asset and it is going to come with you. And you don't have to start from, say, 10, no, 11, 12 onwards. And you will reach to 100, then the final point of perfections. So generally in guidance of Guru, this is facilitated and in a very smooth way. There are strict regulations for a person to take sannyas, that he thinks he can jump off right from brahmachari ashram to sannyas ashram without going through grahastha and vanaprastha. There are some, but we have to scrutinizingly check them. We don't want them to have a great leap. It may fall off too. So there are encouraging and in accordance to the reciprocation they are giving. So there is a training program. So very guided programs.
Thank you so much, Gurudev.
Thank you so much, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else, dear devotees? Questions? Okay. Can I do mine, Gurudev? I'm eagerly waiting to. Yes, Gurudev. First of all, you have really put all the points together in the sense you have thrown more light on the devotee care, saying that it is a multifaceted care. That was very useful for me. Thank you, Gurudev. But the point that I felt is like nailing the point down. That thing was, Gurudev, you said heart should be imbued with sentient feelings towards Lord Shri Krishna. And that is the fountainhead from where the care and affection to the other living entities, devotees, non-devotees, whoever it is, would spring up. So that was really putting the spotlight on the very important point that is needed, where our focus, our attention and energy should go. So that was very nice, Gurudev. And then as I was listening, how to get there? How can the heart be imbued with those sentient feelings with Lord Shri Krishna? Immediately, you actually beautifully explained it, the process of how we as sadhakas can take baby steps to get there. And my understanding is, when you said, these sentient feelings our mellows, they flow back and forth to you and Lord Krishna. And where do they start? It starts with chanting or bhajan from a palpating heart and consciousness. This awakens the heart. And then the mellows are flowing back and forth. And that's how these fine sentiments, feelings towards Lord Shri Krishna, they imbue our heart. And these words, this beautiful explanation of how the whole process happens, where the bhajan, as you wonderfully use these words, Gurudev, bhajan from a palpating heart and consciousness. That's where the whole thing starts. The flow starts, resulting in the reciprocation of mellows and the heart being imbued with those sentient feelings. And this reminded me of the words, the word that Gauranga Mahaprabhu used, the Atma Krandana. So to me, all that you have explained is the expansion of that Atma Krandana. And that's how a heart would be imbued with those sentient feelings. That was very wonderful, Gurudev. And as this process happens, the faith will develop. So there's not a big artificial attempt to cultivate the faith, but the faith will develop. And my understanding is faith means you will see that the things will happen because you are getting the reciprocation. So that's what faith is, and it happens, not that we artificially do it. So in this way, you have beautifully summarized how one is uplifted from a physical state all the way to the spiritual state. So this is what I wanted to share, Gurudev. The nectar was flowing, and time is the only limitation factor now. It is so enriching, Gurudev, nailing down the point of what Shastra is saying and how to get there, that it just, I do not have further words to go on, but very deeply thankful, Gurudev, deeply thankful to you. And I wanted to share this, your Vaishnava Mellows, the album that was released recently, because you are so very well known for those wonderful Vaishnava songs and the deity worship that you train us in, Gurudev. And just trying to share this one, if the devotees are interested. That's the Vaishnava Mellows by Maharaj. And I think more would be coming in the future, but this is what can be shared at this time. And I guess from our side, Gurudev, this is all from our side, dear devotees, if you don't have anything. And before it gets too late, I just want to check. There are no hands that were raised. I don't want to. Yes, no more, Gurudev. So thank you so very much, Gurudev, for being with us.
All the mellows that so far we have done 5. 2 are online of production, and that was intended for the commitment to help the TOVP construction. I already reached the target, but only a day before yesterday, I increased the target by $50,000 more US. So several disciples, they are more enthused, and then they said, yes, Maharaj, we can make it. Then okay, go ahead. Otherwise, I have taken that important because we lost 2 years in construction. So therefore, the opening would be on I think March 24th, 2024, 2 years later.
Yes, yes, correct.
There was no construction, and the collection was also slowed down because no communication virtually.
Yes.
So anyway, Krishna willing, everything will work.
Yeah.
But yesterday we had day before yesterday, we had a target of 1 million, and we went over 1 million. So it was such a big response.
Gurudev, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to read the thank you note from the devotees here in the chat. It's going to be a few seconds. After that, we'll let you rest, Gurudev. This is from Sadhvi Radha Mataji from North Carolina and Prasannatma Prabhu. So, yes. They said, Dandavat Pranams Maharaj to your lotus feet. Thank you so much for your amazing class. And Arundhati Presi Mataji from North Carolina. Same thing. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. So, yes, Gurudev. Thank you.
All right.
And we'll let you rest. Yes, we'll let you rest. And dear devotees, next week, Sunday, 11 o'clock, same time, it would be by His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj on empathic communication. So we'll see you then. Pranams to Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam to you. This is from Hari. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for a beautiful class, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for such an amazing class. Thank you for both.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I think Maharaj is logged off now. Yes. Thank you all so much for attending. Hari Hari. Pranams to you all.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.